Hello, stamp fans. This is Akiko Sudano, independent Stampin' Up demonstrator from Downingtown, Pennsylvania. And hold on, let me check and make sure I'm set up correctly here. How's everybody? Okay, good. All right. All right. Usually, when I do my Facebook Live videos, I start by decorating the front of the card and then the inside of the card and then plopping it on the card base. Well, today I'm going to turn that around a little bit because I've already decorated the front of my card and I've already decorated the inside of my card, and I want to talk about your basic card base. And I think this is something that I've just kind of overlooked and assumed everybody knew everything about. And if you're a experienced card maker, an experienced stamper, and you want to just gloss over this, that's fine. This is because this is getting back to basics on how to take a sheet of 8.5 by 11 paper, cardstock, let me say cardstock, not paper, and turn that into a card base. Now, one of the things that is unique about the card bases is that it comes in different sizes, and typically we talk about an A2 card base, and that holds a 4.25 by 5.5 sized card. And the A2 cards and envelopes are with the Stampin' Up medium size envelope. And you can see I have two very vanilla medium size envelopes. And Stampin' Up has your basic very vanilla and whisper white envelopes, and then they have some fancy envelopes also with some gold foil and other designs with them. And your medium envelope, if I measure it, you're going to see that it's got 4.5. 4.5 is right here, and then it's a little bit bigger so that you've got room in inside the card to put your inside the envelope to put your card. So here's 5.5, and then you've got like an extra 1/4 inch length here, so that you can easily slide your card in and out of the envelope. And if it's a little bit thicker, like you've got dimensionals popping it up, it's still going to be fine. Now, one of the other size cards that Stampin' Up offers, and I'm sorry, I don't have any examples of the plain. Stampin' Up has their cards and envelopes, medium-sized cards and envelopes, and I don't have any of those to show you. But I do have the Night Before Christmas card and envelope set to show you here, and you can see that this is a longer card, and it is just slightly larger. So the card itself, these cards are specifically sized to go with the Memories and More card packs and stuff, so that you can have a nice those cards and those card packs come in a 6x4 size. So if you 6x4 and 3x4 size, so you have if you have a 4-inch card, this is your card for your large card, and your large cards and envelopes designed for the Memories and More. They're sized at 4.5 for the card, and then it's actually, I need to go a little bit, 6.25. Did I say 4.5? Let me go back here and measure this. That's 4.25 by, and I'm going to scooch it over so I can see here, 6.25. So if you have a 4x6 Memories and More card pack that you would do for like a memory book, a memory album, it would fit nicely on the inside here, and then it would also fit nicely on the outside here. And so these are, I think these are called large size. Hi Chi, hi Amy, thank you for joining. I'm talking about card bases today. So first I wanted to talk about the medium medium envelopes that Stampin' Up sells, and how that relates to the A2. And I will cut show you different ways of cutting your cardstock, your 8.5 by 11 cardstock, to make your card bases here. Now, another thing that's, oh, and so there's a lot of, and I don't remember, I just know that A2 is the size that I normally make, but there's other sizes, A4, A7, and all that other stuff, and they correspond to different other sizes of cards that can be made. So when you're purchasing your envelopes and stuff, you want to make sure that you know the size of the envelope and know the size of the card that you want to make. Another thing about the A2 size that I want to emphasize is that when Stampin' Up designs their papers and their stamps and everything, I believe that they do a good job of making sure that they're proportional to the A2 size card, and so that's the size that most people make, and it makes sense that that's the way everything would be set up. Another thing about your card base is the weight of your paper. Now, this is an example of, I don't know if you can see this very well. This green paper is an example of the typical paper that you're going to get from your big box craft store. And you can see how flimsy that is. Now, if you're going to spend a lot of money, or you're going to spend a lot of time and effort making a card, I think you want something that's a little bit more substantial than that, because it looks kind of flimsy. So you want something a little bit more substantial than that. So one of the things that you do is definitely, when you go and you buy your cardstock from other sources, make sure that it's 100-pound or 110 or 20-pound cardstock. And if you look at the thick whisper white, this is the thick whisper white. You can see how that is so much more substantial than this guy. You can see how much more. So your thick whisper white cardstock is gonna make a much better card base than your than the other flimsy stuff. And this is the regular whisper white, and you can see the difference. Can I get them both? You can see the difference in terms of the weight and the thickness of the paper, and how it results in a nice card. And then this is the Night of Navy, which we're going to use. And I find that most of the colored cardstocks also are very thick and nice for making a card base. So I'll often use those also. I think they're perfect for making a card base, so that you have a card that is nice and substantial and doesn't look flimsy. So that's an important. I think that's an important thing for when you're making your cards, because you're putting a lot of effort into it. So the A2 card. Now, I have the new Stampin' Up trimmer, and I'm going to show you how to cut your cardstock for the thing. So when you get if you're not buying pre-made card bases, and you're going to make your own card base, then you want to get your cardstock, but how do you cut it? So there's two different ways, and I'm going to show you each way. You want to make it so that it's a basic card size of 4.25 by 5.5, which means that it's going to be either cut halfway this way in half at 4.25, or half this way. But each 8.5 by 11 will result in two different card bases for you. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to cut this. Let's go ahead and cut this way. Let's go ahead and cut a top folding card. So what you'll do is you'll put it inside your paper trimmer, and align your paper trimmer to align your paper to your paper trimmer at 4.25 inch, and 4¼ inches is right here. So you're going to line that up, make sure it's nice and snug up against the edge there, and close it, and then cut. So you have one piece that's 4¼ by 11, and two pieces that are 4¼ by 11. So there you've cut two card bases. The next thing that you want to do is you'll want to score it at 5½ inches. So you'll take it and you'll put it under in your put it on your the new trimmer has a cutting blade that is this dark brown color, and then this light brown color blade is a scoring blade. So you'll align that up and then bring your scoring blade and go a couple of times, and then there you've got a nice score line. Let me bring this up close. See the score line? And then I'm going to put this aside and fold it over. That's fine. And then take your bone folder, and I like to double check and make sure that I've got everything very carefully so that I don't accidentally so that I don't twist it so that it's ends up being crooked, so that one side is longer, and rub your bone folder against the ends. And then I like to flip it over and do it a second time so that I have a nice sharp crease there. And then if you look on the inside, you've got a nice single bead there, and you've got a nice crisp 4¼ by 5½ card. And I'll find my ruler and measure it. And usually it's going to be maybe off by just a hair, but there we go. 5½ is right here, and then 4¼ is right here. So this card base is now ready to make your A2 card, and this is a top folding card base. Okay, top folding card bases are a little unique, and they're very nice for handmade cards. A lot of card designers make the top folding cards. Now, for a side folding card, you want to measure it. You want to put your card in there and align it to the 5½. Am I still okay? 5½. And then close your trimmer and make sure you use the cutting blade. 5½. Measure twice. Cut once. Then let's go. And then cut it. And I always, because I have had so many times where I've been in a rush and I've cut things off, so I always check and measure and see that they're both about the same size. And then once you've got this, your card cut, then you want to score it. And for the score line, you want to move it to the 4¼ and make sure everything is. Make sure you move your cutting blade out of the way and use your scoring blade to score it at 4¼ And I just do it a couple of times and it just feels so good. Okay, so you have a nice crisp score line, and I always fold it away from the direction that I scored it in. And I'll get my bone folder and press it down and press it down, and there. you have a nice side folding card with a nice crisp bead on the inside. And then you have a top folding card with a nice crisp bead on the inside. And then you have your 2 extra card bases that you can use for future cards or use for other die cuts or something else in the future. So let's put this aside and let's go ahead and assemble our cards. So this card design is one that I copied from my Stampin' Up upline, Amy Kunders, who made this, used this beautiful Night Before Christmas paper, and I decided to make one similar just to keep it simple, and I stamped the Merry Christmas from the Snowman Season stamp set and tied a little linen bow and then added a little bit of navy rhinestone bling to it. And I've got my dimensionals already. And when I put ribbon around it, I like to hold it with Scotch tapes just so that it doesn't shift around. And then I put a little mini dimensional on the back there to keep the bow in place. Pull the covers off of my dimensionals here. And then, let's see, check my measurements. Bring it down just a little bit more. There. Simple little card. Then, so for a card that is like a portrait card, you can use any kind of, you can use the same design for both style of A2 cards. Whether it's side folding or top folding. The side folding cards, remember, are 5.5 by 8.5, and then scored at 4 1/4. And the top folding cards are 4 1/4 by 5.5. No, 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5.5. Get everything? And then glue my panel down with the dimensionals. Then clean this away. And then just add some liquid glue to the back of my insides. And put the inside of my card together. The greeting on the inside also is from the Snowman Season stamp set, and then the stars are from the So Many Stars stamp set. I wanted to use the stars so that they would pick up on the stars in the designer series paper. And then just glue it down. looks good. Okay, so you have a side folding A2 card and a top folding A2 card. I don't know, this looks a little crooked for me right now. But then and you have your medium envelope, and that card will easily slide in on a medium A2 envelope. One of the things that, let me see if I have a piece of paper. Here we go. One of the things that I find also is if you're sliding a card into an envelope that it's that's heavily embellished, is just put a piece of cardstock over it, over the front of it, to protect it when you're sliding it in the envelope. And you can either choose whether you're going to keep it there for mailing or choose to remove it afterwards. And ta-da! And it fits nicely. So the envelopes have a little bit of give for extra thickness and embellishments. That's that. So there you go. 2 sweet little Christmas cards, and I demonstrated how to cut a card base step by step, very, very beginning instructions for how to do that. So that's all I have for you today. Thank you for joining me. Bye-bye.